we know what Jesus was when he was a man on earth. What was his profession? Was he a doctor?
Carpenter.
He was a heavenly doctor, but what was Jesus' work?
Carpenter.
But that's his heaven. But when he was a man on earth,
Panday to si Lord
he was
Jesus.
a carpenter. Jesus
Panday to
was
siya.
a carpenter. Because we know Jesus is the foundation. Jesus is the foundation. But also the builder. Without us, without the carpenters, the workers, there's no building. Without Jesus, there's no building, heavenly building for us. And then once though I became, and Jesus came in, and it's like, oh, Jesus, please forgive me for my sins. I could feel right away, boom, that God coming in me. And so it's no longer me. I feel me in there because I'd rather go steal a chicken and have a dinner.
Well, Rich, I think we lost Dan, so hopefully he'll be right back to do his show.
Well, got anything intelligent to say? Or you worn out from the last 4 hours stream?
Man, I could probably go on for another 6 hours, but I was also very happy. That's the thing I love about a team, man. I am so happy to pass it off to Dan.
Yeah, that was a really good stream, man, and I hope a couple of those guys come back. You know that I was impressed with how some of those talks went, and just to show we're reaching people out in Mongolia. You know, at least your ministry's getting out there.
It's not mine, dude. It's all of ours. I couldn't do this without you guys. Wouldn't
Yeah.
want to.
You're putting in a lot of work too, but I appreciate your humble mind and your humble attitude, man. I think that's why I fit in here. You know, I really enjoyed the time that I've spent here.
Well, I'm excited for Dan to come back because he always does awesome stuff with his designer talk and proof of design against evolution. But also tomorrow it should be a really good one. We have a stream called One Blood, and it kind of is going to get into like hidden bigotry that Christians hide in their heart, and even gets into, you know, like, can a Christian be racist? And I think it'll be real insightful.
Yeah, that'll be a good topic. If I'm not busy, I'll jump in for it.
Yeah, for sure.
Next Sunday, my new church has asked me to do a sermon about encouragement. I'd like to stream it live if possible, or at least record it and then post it later.
Either one of those would be okay.
Okay, it's at 1:00 Eastern. I guess so. Do you know if you have anything scheduled for that time yet?
As of right now, no. My schedule is open for then, so I can be there and help make it happen.
Okay. I'm still trying to figure out whether or not I'm going to use my PowerPoint presentation just on their TV screen, or also somehow set it up. I'd probably have to do a live thing from, I don't know. Let me look into it. I might be able to bring two screens over and do it that way, but
okay. Where there's a will, there's a way. We can figure something out.
Amen, brother. You know, just pray for an open mind, because it's something I've been wanting to put together for a while. About halfway finished with it. I'm just trying to connect all the dots and spread it out. You know, try to make it at least insightful, at least 30 minutes long.
Okay. Yeah. And if you want to run it past me, I'll give you my critique.
Yeah. Do you want me to run it past you before I go live with it, or?
Yeah. Now, if you don't mind, if you could talk for just a minute, I've got Dan calling me.
Okay. Yeah, words and stuff. No, okay, so this is designer talk. I guess I was on the trail walking the dogs earlier and come across a turtle on the path. My first thought was, how on earth did that shell evolve? I mean, the evolution theory says, slow mutations over time. How long did it take for that shell to, to actually evolve it into the protective thing that it needs to survive? I mean, how long did the turtle survive before it happened? I mean, my first thought is he'd be eaten in nature, without a shell and without a way to hide. Um, yes, this is back to back live stream. Dan, I guess, is having some technical difficulties. He's usually hosting this one. That's why we had to cut the other one short for this one. We have, what, 5 or maybe 8 hosts on this thing. So everybody, usually has a good topic to say. Again, I really appreciate you participating there every day, man of God. And Amicus, all you guys, I appreciate you earlier. I guess I can pull up some of my PowerPoint slides. How to keep people entertained so they don't leave.
And Dan is on his way. He should be back in just a second.
Oh, okay. Well, just about to open up my PowerPoint slides. I can run some of the stuff by you for my thing that I'm going live with next Sunday right now, if you want to.
Yeah, that'll help us eat up a minute before Dan gets back.
Okay. Let me share my screen here. Shoot, I should probably plug in my other screen to make this easier on me. My PowerPoint over there. Maybe.
Yes, every day, man of God, this is back-to-back live streams. We typically have at least one show a day, sometimes 2. And here is President Dan. Yes, President Dan in the house.
I couldn't get my other screen to work anyway. All right. Well,
Dan, is that with you, sir? You're with us?
I don't know, am I?
You are, so I'm going to give it to you.
All right, you give it to me. Welcome, everybody. What'd you guys stall? Did you do anything good?
we had a really good conversation about Easter, or what was it? Bunnies and the resurrection of Jesus.
That was a cool stream today. So you guys said a little more about it.
Yeah, I went on for about 4 hours. We had I caught it towards the end, but we had people from Mongolia jumping in, and a couple of people I'd really like to see come back in the ministry and talk with us. Yep.
Very cool.
Sure. I'm out of things to say.
Oh, that's nice. So it's great. I was trying to get out of a noisy party situation, my daughter's Easter celebration, and so I went upstairs, and the intro just kept on going. Luckily, I looked on my phone and I saw you were there, so it's like, okay, it's not all for nothing, but so our tech guy had a
party's important too. So
yeah, so Steven said, going outside. So this is working, I guess.
Yeah, we can see you. We can hear you.
Sweet. So this morning I was out pulling some weeds, and I just, again, thanking God for his love for us, and I just saw some incredible bits of nature that, again, show forth his resurrection, his intelligent designing, and so I was gonna show that. don't know what I'm doing. Wow, these. So it must meant to be that you guys came in and saved the day. If you watch for people coming on in, are you still hearing me?
Yeah, I'm still hearing you. You're cutting out little bits here and there. Like right now, your screen has
Frozen.
Yeah.
So Steven said to turn off the camera if that happens, and it'll help probably. Usually I have a pretty good connection over here, but I was outside and I was looking. Let's start that, and then if the internet fades away. But again, and this goes for resurrection also, because of course a seed is lifeless. Seeds are not alive, and you put a little water on them and the right conditions, and they actually come to life. And but this is a very cool. It's
evolved first, the plant or the seed?
what's that?
What evolved first, the plant or the seed?
Well, of course, let me see. Let me get on my my preschool brain. Brainwashing. No, that was for Mr. Logos today. Come on, I saw him in the stream. I think it was your Easter stream, and he was like, "Oh, if I go on to a teaching, I was assuming with Proverbs guys because they invited him on, that he'd have to talk like a preschool teacher because to creationists." And I commented back that how like, well, yeah, the only reason you guys have to talk like preschool teachers is because that's the only people you can get to be so brainwashed. Because evolution, it's a little fairy tale. It's the Easter Bunny. Let's believe it. And that's my opinion, of course. And I agree to disagree with my evolutionary friends. But check this out. This is called a filiary plant or weed for us because they're short-lived, and usually weeds are just a plant out of place, but usually it's because they're short-lived and they don't add to wrong one. How about this one? Share that screen, and it's showing the seed. There we go. Let me get it back to the beginning now. Do you see that one? Nope, we didn't share it up there, did we? I always put it there, and then I don't share it all the way. Oh, where'd it go? Do you see it down there somewhere?
I do not.
Okay, yeah. So this.
Yep.
Help
There
me.
it goes. It's up
Oh,
there.
you got
now.
it up there?
Yep.
Okay. And now, there we go. Is that it? There we go. And so there's a little weed, pretty little flower to it. As a kid, we had these little weeds that had like a almost like a pin cushion to it, like the flower. And we'd get these guys that look like little spears and stick the spear into this little guy, and we'd throw it, and then it wouldn't stab into somebody's eye or something. Kind of cool because they look, before they do this really odd thing, they look like a little spear. Let's play this one, see what we got. Maybe hit play. Okay.
Want to see something that'll make your eyes pop right out of your head? Watch closely.
Are you hearing it, Rich?
Yeah, we can hear it just fine.
Okay.
Now we can't.
So this is the weed seed. Now you can see the little, usually before this, they're in a straight line, and you can see the head, the seed itself looks like a spear, and you can imagine the curly part here, which is the amazing part. It is usually straight, so it looks like a little spear shaft. But then when it gets matured, it starts to twist like this.
These remarkable mechanisms, seldom observed at this magnification, engineered and constructed to help assure life on Earth.
Now, I didn't even check who does this video, but it doesn't matter. Probably not creationists, but they always, even in the godless evolutionary world, they will use design terminology. oh, these little micro machines, or these are, wow, this is how they're designed for the environment. And they use creationist wordage, even if they don't believe in a creator. But I digress.
They are biological wonders, commonplace, extraordinary. Devoid of muscle tissue, yet surprisingly dynamic. And their mobility fascinated researchers from South Carolina to South Korea. This story begins with these small lavender flowers. The plant's scientific name, Erodium cicuterium, but it's commonly known as stork's bill. A week after blossoming, the petals wither to reveal these green striped pods. Inside their protective walls, 5 seeds quickly develop. Each seed is attached to a slender tail called an awn, and 5 awns per pod cluster together to form these narrow point extensions that measure 1 to 3 inches and resemble, you guessed it, the bill of a stork. Later, the pods die back to display their contents. 5 exquisite packages of life, signed, sealed, and ready for delivery. The stork's bill now awaits the most explosive stage in its life cycle. As the seeds mature, the awns dry out and contract. In the process, elastic energy builds within them to the breaking point. The extreme torque generated by the twisting awns catapults the ripened seeds away from the parent plant. Now things really get interesting. Once on the ground, the awn reacts to humidity and quickly changes shape. Its cells are hygroscopic, so even though they're dead, they still respond to variations in the weather. On a dry afternoon, the cells shrink and the awn coils tightly. But when the humidity rises, the moist air triggers an opposite reaction and the awn uncoils. These alternating cycles of contraction and release produce motor action that causes the awn shaft, tail, and fine hairs to move the seed on its slow, relentless march. If the seed head locates a small hole or crack, it enters, then twists and burrows like a miniature bulldozer.
Okay, so now it's as if it finds it, if it, whatever, unless there is a little brain in there, which would make it even worse for godless evolution, you have, it's just whirling around on the ground, cast away for competition, and as a design, is to hold the soil. It is to keep erosion from happening. Regardless, it's a way. And what another video said, it just goes until it can't go any farther, and then the movement action just keeps twisting, and where it sticks, and it just pounds it down into the ground. Not pounds it; it just coils itself down into the ground. Just incredible.
Okay, now freeze the action right here. I want to show you why that seed's outer casing is an absolute masterpiece. Just look at its shape, sleek, tapered, and perfect for pushing its way into narrow spaces. And that hook on the tip, it anchors the seed while it's drilling into the soil. Those rows of microscopic hairs are aligned to help drive it forward, even while large cap top of the case collect moisture that may help germinate.
Dan? Dan? Dan, we lost you. Hello. Okay. Well, I'm going to open my PowerPoint and continue with a preview of what I'm doing next week till he comes back. So I've got invited to speak at my new church Sunday. I'm going to called Believing in Miracles Church in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. It's a nice small little place. You guys are welcome to tune into their Facebook page. You can definitely use the audience. It's maybe about less than 20 people at the moment. Let's see, where's that open button? There it is. Yep, Dan is completely gone. All right. Let's see here. All right. So have you guys heard of this guy, Masato Emoto? He's now passed, but he's a Japanese scientist who basically proved that water holds memory. He did some experiments with water and thought and emotion, and basically had his students display emotions and such things to different beakers of water, different samples of water, and then repeated the experiment several times and froze the water molecules, and each sample came up with the same crystalline structure. Here's some example of what the emotions did to the crystalline structure. Here's several more. But what I'm trying to show is basically why it is important to encourage people. So if emotions can do that to just water, and we are 70% water, give or take, depending on the organ, but I think it's about an average of 74%. Does that mean emotion and thought and encouragement or hatred can actually alter the molecular structure of the human body? So here's a quote from Masaru Emoto. The words themselves actually emit a unique vibration that the water is sensing. When the water is shown a written word, it receives it as vibration and expresses the message in a specific form, like a visual code for expressing words. Exposed to the words, thank you, formed a beautiful geometric crystal. No matter what the language, but water exposed to you fool and other degrading words resulted in obviously broken and deformed crystals. When a complete geometric crystal is formed, water is in alignment with nature and the phenomenon we call life. The words gratitude and love from a fundamental principles of the laws of nature and phenomena of life. Masato Emoto. So he also did some experiments with water and rice. And I've heard, somebody else talk about this, where you can test this one at home. I've never specifically done it myself, but basically right by the front door on either side, you put a jar with rice and water in it. And before you leave, you love on one and then you hate on the other. And I think over a period of 3 or 4 days, you'll see a unique change. The one that you love on is just going to be white, normal, and just beautiful. When the other one you hate on is going to be black, moldy, and dead. It's definitely worth looking into. Words are the vibrations of nature. Therefore, beautiful words create beautiful nature. Ugly words create ugly nature. This is the root of the universe. Water carries our thoughts and prayers. As you are water yourself, no matter where you are, your prayers will be carried to the rest of the world. So let me open my Bible here and read just the first three first three verses of Genesis. In the third, I think it's the third verse, you'll notice something very interesting. It's amazing how many pages you got to go through to get to the very first page of Genesis. Okay, so New King James, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Or King James says moving upon the face of the waters. So before he even created light, before any plants, his Spirit himself moved upon the face of the waters. Several times in the Bible it also says that we can bless God. That one's always bothered me. How can we be a blessing to the Almighty? Maybe it's because our thoughts hold power. The Bible also says the power, life and death are in the power of the tongue. So you can literally curse at people and stress them out and literally alter the molecular structure. Don't go around doing it, but go around encouraging and blessing people. So this is what I've got coming next week. Here's something Einstein said. Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality and you want, and you cannot help but get into that reality. Can be no other way. It's not philosophy. It's just physics. You know who this guy is? Nikola Tesla. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. This guy has some good books out there. As you think, so shall it be. He's got an interesting book called Real Magic that I highly recommend. Yeah, this is something I'm working on, and I'm going to present it live here. Generation of Vipers, Matthew 12:34. How can you, ye being evil, speak good things? For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. So why don't you go bless somebody? Love and gratitude. You never know what's going to happen. Walking down the street, you encounter somebody. I got a perfect example. Happened this morning on the way to church. Pulled over to a Dollar General to get a snack. And I had some false judgments. This guy looked like he was in a bad mood and it didn't really rub me the right way. But I just felt like ignoring him and going out on my way. I just happened to ask him, do you need any prayer for anything? And he said that his aunt just died that morning. And I prayed over him. You can just see, his spirit's lifted up just a little bit. So you never know what you encounter on a daily basis. You can be walking down the street and somebody, for example, is just in a very terrible state of mind. Had something like that happen, for example. You don't know if they're going to go home and, commit suicide or hurt their family or something. Hold on, I'm going to turn the oven off. But then you just go up to him and simply say something like, hey, brother, I like that hat, or that's a nice shirt, or nice shoes. And that little small compliment just kind of lifts them up. And then they don't go down that path that they were wanting to. And instead they go home and love their wife or love the people. A lot of people in this world, many of them, I was one of them for many years, had a lot of hurt. And we have a thing called pride. And because of that pride, we don't share the hurt that we feel. And so if you go out and encourage and bless somebody, you don't need to bless them financially, but just ask them how they're doing. Give them a friendly, gentle hug. Tell them they look great. it'll really, really change their life and really alter their perspective on anything. Imagine just throwing a little pebble into a pond. Well, that little pebble is going to ripple out over the entire pond. That one little effect. Like, have you heard of the chaos theory? Or, I'm sorry, not the chaos theory, the butterfly effect. You know, if a butterfly flaps his wings in Brazil, it'll cause a hurricane up in the Gulf of Mexico. Just that little nudge. We have no idea how that is going to carry out through life. If God nudges you to do something small, you don't know what it's going to do. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Lee Strobel. I never read the book, but I heard this testimony during one of his speeches. In his book, The Case of Christ, he talks about how God was nudging him to go talk to, there's a friend or a brother or something like that, or cousin, very close to him. And he's witnessed to the guy many times before, but he just seemed like it was a waste of time. But he listened to God anyway, and he went in there for quite a while and talked to the guy and witnessed with him and shared the gospel. And the guy's like, "What are you doing? You know I'm an atheist. I don't believe in this." Nothing happened to that guy. About a year later, I think, Lee Strobel was preaching. At the end of the sermon, or the end of the service, somebody came up to him that he never met before. It's like, "Hey, I know you don't know me, but I want to thank you. It's because of your words that my life was completely changed." See, about a year ago, you were inside this office preaching to an atheist. I was behind the counter down on the floor laying tile. And you didn't know I was there, but I heard everything you said. That night, I gave my life to Christ. I went home and talked to my wife, and the next day, she gave her life to Christ. And we started going to church, and now my entire family are saved. So if God nudges you to do something, to be an encouragement, you don't know how it's going to ripple out. You don't know what that little butterfly wing is going to do in somebody's life. Go out there, guys. Be a light of encouragement. God's Spirit moved upon the face of the water. Since God is Spirit, and since water holds memory, we can actually bless God. Does God bless us through the water? Does God use water to bless us? Is our body blessed because of water? It's a pretty cool looking crystal. I don't know how he was thinking eternity on it. Maybe just thinking about forever. But whatever you do, if you can, just encourage somebody at least once a day. Would you rather forgive somebody, or would you rather hate them? There's so many ugly things in this world. Why not be a blessing to somebody? And if, let's say, every Christian out there just encourage somebody once a day, imagine how that would ripple out across the entire planet. That's what we need in this world. Just more love. We don't get enough of it. But I don't think Dan is going to come back and hang out with us. Let me look in the chat, see if anybody has any questions or if anybody wants to come in. Yeah, there's Dan right there. Dan must be out. Where are you, Dan? You're commenting, but you're not coming in yourself. Yeah, there are no questions, so. We know that we have passed from death into life because we love the brethren. He that loveth not his brother abideth in death. Jesus said if you look with hatred towards someone, he considers it murder. What our thoughts affect the cells of other people by how we speak to them. Is it really killing the cell? Is that why Jesus said that? Life and death are in the power of your tongue. God created the universe with his voice. We are made in their image, in the triune image. Hey, happy Easter to you too, brother or sister. But we are made in their image, and God created the universe with his very voice. Don't you think we have some of that power? Jesus even said, with enough faith, you can speak to that mountain and cast it into the sea, but we doubt it. We are so far removed, 2,000 years. Let me share. There it is. Control B. Come on in and talk if you guys want to. I'm going to try to hold out a little bit longer, maybe just 3 more minutes. So I did see on a social media post that Victor Glover, the pilot of the Artemis mission, actually they're going to encounter the moon tonight. They are, probably a couple hours away from it. He did do a Bible study, but the stream I saw was from CBS, and of course they're not going to, stream anything biblical. I've noticed, it seems like Jesus Christ isn't welcome in the name of prophet. People are more concerned about their God and money than they are the truth of Christ. They're just let it go and they're blind to it. But I want to try to find that stream, and then I want to try to share it on here. Let's see. Oh, I heard a beep. Hey, look. Dan came back.
I heard the 3 minutes. No, I've been looking for a cord. Went into a laundry room to try to get away from the noise and hopefully better internet. Thank you so much, Rich. If you weren't here, it would have been a normal shipwreck of my show. But
you're good. Stephen wanted me to kind of share what I was going to do next week with him anyway. So,
oh, cool. Yeah.
It's kind of right up your alley. So hopefully he approves of it. If you'd like to, I'm going to share this with my church next Sunday, and maybe try to go live. If that doesn't work out, I'll just do another thing on this. So,
did Stephen tell you who the president is? What do you mean if he approves?
Well, yeah, okay. Well, what you're listening, what do you think?
Oh, what I saw of it was good. In and out of the bad connection.
Well, basically, it shows more of God's design. It's kind of right up your alley, but it's kind of going deep down some rabbit holes. I just there's a way to use this. I get land for good, and I just pray that people don't intentionally hate on their brother because they can actually change their molecular structure. But be a blessing to people, man. I mean, there's enough hate in this world. People are so dang selfish.
Oh no, totally. And what man makes for evil, God can make for good.
Amen.
And so we know that he holds stuff back, and we know that, like you said, will we find faith when he does originally come back? And yeah, there will be people believing, but that is the problem right now. That is why we're here on Proverbs Guys Ministry, is because, and I was telling a friend at church today, it's like, yeah, we might be wrong, but I'm happy as a clam. If I take my last brain chemistry, whatever goes away and there's nothing there, I'm not going to know it. But come on, guys, when I was in that dark place where I couldn't see anything behind the dark door, it turned out the darkness was just within me. And believing that, where's the end? What's going to happen? What's the purpose? Why should I try to make people happy when there's just this dark wall, and it's not a happy place. Sorry, people, you can tell me all you want. It's like, oh, whatever, I'm in a fine place. It's better for me to know that once I'm dead, there's nothing there. And it's like, you're the biggest of what I call idiots or whatever, because why are you in pain? Why are you doing these things? Some pain is not on us, but you and I, we've talked, man. We got some sore bodies because we work hard. Well, if it's just some rich dude above us trying to make us,
Hey, I resent that remark, man.
you resemble it, but we no, it's but it's like, why aren't we going to sit on a beach? Well, there's not everything good there either, and that's what I always tell people in my experience is like, but I'm happy as a clam, is because of my experience, because of the novel prediction in the Bible that if I confess my sin, he's faithful and just to forgive me my sin, and the God of the universe will reside inside of me. And that happened. And that gives me so much love, joy, and peace, and patience, and kindness. Paul also says, and the Bible says, that we are still human. So we're going to have that struggle with inside of us of wanting to do good or evil. And another novel prediction in the Bible coming true. Isn't that what science is based on? Novel predictions. So,
I mean, that is the basis of a scientific theory, basically, or scientific method.
And the other evidence was like, but not in a laboratory. You can't do it. You can't do a lot of things. You can't test a lot of things in laboratory. And so, but we can see this. The test is that the same experience that somebody had in 2,000 years ago, they had 1,900 years ago, 1,800, 17, 16, all through history, through different cultures, ages of people, economic ability, intelligence, and it all happened. So that is a scientific study group that if you truly confess God, if you truly ask him for help, he will help. And he has billions of people. And then again, I was like, oh, well, some people had it, or I've met some people say, well, I was a Christian, now I'm not. Well, two avenues. We have friends here that believe that you can lose your salvation. You can be a child of God, then you can walk out and divorce, I guess, your heavenly father. We hear Proverbs.
I don't agree with that. I mean,
I don't either. So I'm just throwing the two different avenues against that. What we at Proverbs Guys believe is that you never had it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And again, the novel prediction that there will be people that are fakes. They say they believe, but they don't.
Jesus will tell them, "Turn from me, I never knew you."
So that's two novel predictions. What else does a scientific mind need out there? But the main thing, just like with Lazarus and the rich dude, it's like, oh, let me come back, bring me back, so I can show my brothers, because they need. And what did Jesus say? Even if somebody comes back from the dead, they will not believe. And that's where we are right now. People, oh, well, if God says this, that, and the other, if he comes into my room and slaps me in the face, if, whatever it is, then I'll believe. No, there's plenty of evidence. And hopefully you saw a little bit about that little weed seed I showed you. But,
oh, dude, pull that up again. You want me to pull it up on my computer since you're having connection issues?
Let me see. Yeah, you can start that one. And I actually took one. What made me think of it, I took one. So you bring that one up. I'm going to see if I can find.
What was it called?
Lost that part. It was the Villery, I believe.
You don't want me looking
the crane
seed on YouTube.
Crane's bill. cranes bill, and I just uploaded, and maybe it came through. Oh, here's one right here. I'll do this one. That was one I just did today. It's just a short. It's showing these guys. See it here. Yeah, here's another one. So we're not looking at the same one.
Okay. Yeah, I got something completely different when I looked up crane spill.
Okay, I was looking up stuff and okay, does that show it there?
I don't know. Let me click back over. Yeah.
Okay, so this was at the nursery this morning for church. I went out and did something.
Easter.
Now, do you hear it?
Yeah.
Easter.
So that's the little plant right there.
I had a gopher trap there. I guess it didn't come back. I didn't get it, but anyway, that's not the
Rabbit
subject.
trail. Ignore that.
Rabbit trail. Wow, it's the day we celebrate Jesus' resurrection after dying for our sins. Anyhow, so just got a little video here, and you can see I haven't dealt with this for a while, but along the planting area, really well weeded. Kept up on that. Hoping to get some help over on these concrete asphalt area. But
so that's the little crane bill. Let me see if we can.
Right there. See, these guys have already
just showing how not to weed like I did this year.
This guy.
Oh man, did I do the wrong one? There he is.
Let's see if we can see one with the differing climatical. That's not a word. Anyway, here's one. Look at that. Here's the little spear guy. Try to get him, but he's twisted up. They come out straight. They twist, and they turn themselves. And he was actually planted already. So you can see there's a bunch of these. These guys will pop up. We'll have to deal with them again. Look at that. Boom. And I don't know if you can see.
All you see is just the little twirl and the end of its tail. Otherwise, that seed has drilled itself into the ground.
See that? Here's another one. They actually plant themselves down the ground. I'm saying that's a design feature. You might believe that it wasn't designed by a person, but nature or something else. That is killer cool. Look at way over here. Uh-oh.
Glitchy.
And they, because I can't remember what it is, look it up, but they will move on the ground with a different, I think. What a beautiful day here. Easter. Morning. There. I guess it didn't come back. I didn't get it, but anyway, that's not the subject. So, rabbit trail.
Rabbit.
There we go.
That was a gopher hole. How's it a rabbit trail?
It's a rabbit trail down a gopher hole.
I know.
Come on, you gotta get the Dan speak going.
Man, I'm
so yeah,
in a greenhouse, brother.
You what?
I said I miss working in a greenhouse.
Oh, so much fun. Did you do down at DAL doing that or?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I was talking to Steven about we need that greenhouse. I don't know if you've seen pictures of the greenhouse, which reminds me. Oh, I gotta get home and make sure everything didn't dry out because we don't have. They didn't put in a ventilation system. Spent tons of dollars on the thing and so again, great design for a greenhouse if you're in Alaska. But not even on hot days in Alaska, they put no ventilation. Spent $16,000 just on fiberglass panels. So again, oh well, that was bad design. Yeah, it was bad design that they didn't put vents in the roof, but it still was a design. And they go, oh well, that we know because it was man-made. Well, no, what we're saying is that it was intelligently made, even if it was wrong. Because the system that was where before wasn't reinstalled, and the roof panel should have been redesigned. But it's just like nature. If we see something in nature, it gets cancer. Oh, wow, cancer was such a bad design. It wasn't designed in to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, let me throw this out there. It wasn't God that threw a glyphosate on all of our fruits and vegetables across this country. It wasn't God who, threw them on the market, and didn't wash all that stuff off. What if you have like the child who's born with cancer? Maybe the mother was, unbeknownst to her, eating those things with glyphosate in it, and the baby got cancer from that. You can't blame that on God. I guarantee you God told the company not to put that kind of poisonous stuff on our food.
God puts the law in our hearts. And so just because we don't listen to it or we straightway reject it, that part is not his. But at the same time, he is all powerful. And, I was wrestling with that. I think a guy in England, I think, brought it up. And it might even have been one of the guys from Europe, maybe Mr. Logos, but somebody else is like, well, if you know something is going to happen and you don't stop it, well, you are kind of responsible. And it's like, well, that is true. God knew that Adam and Eve would fall. So in that point, he allowed it to go. And if he allows it as the Almighty, yeah, he designed that to happen. And we can have excuses for it. But the thing is that we don't know the designer's heart. I would not, I've told that before, is, man, my dad used his leather belt on me, and it wasn't because he wanted to. He wasn't even mad. I don't think he ever.
That's a good design of a belt right there.
Yeah, but I don't think he ever disciplined me or spanked me mad. It was he'd get home from work, and my mom would be like, Charlie, go, and I don't think she told him what was it. Like, go give him a spanking, and we'd get a spanking. And so, but that saved me a lot. Now my brother, it got him to be sneakier. Myself, though, it was, I think I'm going to try to get away from that. And that's what God does. So if he disciplines, if he uses somebody like Pharaoh, who he gave plenty of chances to repent, and then he just, all right, your heart is hardened. You're not gonna change anyway. And that was part of his script for freeing the slaves. And so, no, it's he is our supreme leader, who I know loves us because I feel it inside of me. And so therefore I'm going to trust him. If for the better good, some general tells me I got to go storm a machine gun nest to protect other people, we're going to go do it, because I trust we need that out of there, because God doesn't make mistakes, not like a general who could make a mistake, but God not going to make a mistake. So if he tells us or has something happen to us, that is for a good. And I know it in my heart because I feel him in my heart. So I want to make my daddy happy. Nobody, see, I might not have, I think I'm not going to let you on my show anymore, Rich, because when you're around, nobody can come in and challenge. See, you look too smart.
I'm not shaving the beard.
No, they probably think you look like God, and they know, they don't want to come to judgment.
Oh, but I really hope they don't think I'm God.
Me too. But Mormons, they believe God is actually physical, has a physical appearance. So might be. But we know God is spirit. And
we got one challenge right here.
Who do we got? The
I don't know how to pronounce his name. But he says, "Oh, if I am still wrong, or if I'm wrong, I'm still happy to claim it." Does not sound very convicted.
Well, and see, that's the honesty that, as in philosophy, and this, sorry guys, that's going to philosophy, that I don't even know you exist. I know I exist because I'm thinking inside my mind. So what I'm saying with that is that it's about happiness. It's about not even happiness. It's about joy, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. That's not Dan. And you guys know because I still work on self-control. But again, though, I can't love people on myself. That it is, and because then they, again, defining terms, I can love somebody if love means I help you out, you help me out. My dad always used to say, you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours. Which always
Isn't love supposed to be selfless?
Yes, the love that is selfless, 100% selfless. And no matter what it is, I'm sorry, even a mother with their child, a lot of that is instinctive. It parallels, but it is not true. So Proverbs, guys. Let's see. I'm sorry, guys. I missed some of the comments. Wildcard is friends with Dr. Kent Hovind. He also got really solid theology.
Yeah, he's Dr. Hovind's tech guy. Joseph is awesome. How you doing, Joseph? Thanks for the
compliment. Oh gosh, I know.
Right. It is a shame for a man to have a bald chin.
Well, God didn't give me hair on the chin, so that's because you guys look like real men. I didn't start shaving, I don't think, until I was in my 30s, and that was just like because it was annoying. Those 4 hairs that Oh, of course I know Wild Card. I don't know. My glasses aren't that good today. I love his riding the dinosaur. Hello, Joseph.
Yeah, he's a good man. God definitely gave him that position. He was so patient when he was there too.
God was?
No, Joseph. He was the best thing that happened to Dr. Hovind's ministry. They had a lot of tech guys in the time I was there. One of them, or 2 of them, straight up stole from the ministry. Both of them were over $40,000-$50,000.
Did you know the druggie dude?
Steve
Lynn. Yeah, that was.
We didn't get along because I wouldn't submit to his false authority.
Oh, good.
We weren't really friends. Even though, he did. He was part of one of my favorite stories. I don't know if you guys ever tried to shoot a camera drone out of the sky with a potato gun.
No.
I came so close one shot, but I mean it was a $3,500 drone, and he told Dr. Hovind, man, he was the first time I ever screamed at me.
Well, probably too, because he probably knew it's like, man, they could afford it if he stopped stealing. They could afford a bunch of those drones.
Yeah, I mean, I think Stephen was just wasting a bunch of the money there. They had a lot of the top of the line stuff, and a lot of it was unnecessary. And then I guess he turned it around and sell it, put most of the money back in his pocket. And I don't know the whole thing, but yeah, I'm glad Joseph is in that position, and Joseph has made the ministry grow more than Steve ever did.
No, it's and that's where.
Randall was the other guy. Well over $500,000 they stole from him. Jeez.
Randall, was he the car finance guy?
He was, I guess, I don't remember his position, but he was a friend that Dr. Hovind met while he was in prison.
Oh, yes, the old guy.
Out.
Jailhouse conversion, I guess.
Probably back in jail now after stealing that much money.
Wow. Yeah, if you're going to steal, you might as well go big or go home.
Even though he did upgrade my computer pretty well when I was down there. I did pay for the parts. I don't know if they went to the ministry or into his pocket, but he did a good job on my computer.
Christian, come defend deep time. Death before. No. Hi, Christian. I'm too tired to cause trouble today. There must be something wrong with me.
Speaking of design, I don't see how evolution would allow sleep. If it's about survival of the fittest, why every single day would you need to lay down for 6 to 8 hours in a very vulnerable spot? I mean, even today, people can come take you out easily when you're sleeping. A lot of people, most thieves break in while you're asleep, don't they?
Samson. They wouldn't have got close to him to begin with if he wasn't sleeping. You think we would have evolved past that?
Maybe. I don't even think they have figured out how consciousness itself evolved.
Of course, because it didn't. Hey, shh, don't tell them. That's not materialistic. Our emotions, our brain wave, not chemistry, because chemistry is part of the material.
I heard a beep. Someone's coming in. Maybe.
Let me see. Right up there.
Brother Pipe.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
What's up, man? How you doing, bro?
Doing pretty good.
Happy Easter.
Yeah, you guys too.
I am doing all right since Richard was here because the computer dumped a couple times and he was able to keep it going. So,
you can send me a check in the mail anytime you want to.
Yeah, I'll do that. That address was in Monroe, Georgia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you still in Monroe?
Yeah.
Okay. You didn't comment on my joke, so anyway. I'll have to ask Stephen on the he said even Bruce wasn't blocked.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was on the ministry account earlier and I made a comment from that account and I noticed that it was blocked and it could just be from something way back in the day.
Oh. Steven! So I heard you had a good chat with Bruce, and what I heard was pretty good.
I don't know that I've ever had a good chat with Bruce. I did have some correspondence, you know.
Well, I thought he was less aggressive with his attacks. Maybe that's it. You had a less aggressive seeming fight.
Joseph is full of it. I don't know, man. I love Bruce, and I know that I do, because if I didn't, why would I still talk to him?
Well, and that's proof of the Holy Spirit, because he's unlovable. A lot of times we're all unlovable. Bruce just stretches it. It seems like he tries.
Tries to what exactly?
He tries to prove our love because. Okay, they say they love me, and okay, they still love me after that. But what about if I say this?
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe Bruce has just like been playing, 10th dimensional chess this whole time.
Exactly, he's proving that we have the Holy Spirit or not.
I can see by Richard's face that he believes that.
What are we talking about? Yeah, sure. How much money are you going to give me for me to believe? What? Believe anything for $1 million? No.
So what you said something about coming in for a reason. What do you guys talk about?
I showed a little weed seed that actually travels along the ground and corkscrews itself.
Yeah, I know you live in California, but you can't be fooling with them weed seeds, man.
Oh my gosh!
A town based off of that, okay?
I tried.
Weed, California.
It's not an honest living, Dan.
Here is. And you guys know, so I don't have to be embarrassed because you guys already know. I was looking up well, let's see, how did I put it? Something about a weed seed that twists into the ground, and it came up with all these marijuana sites. I'm going, I didn't say anything about
What did
marijuana.
you expect from the internet, Dan, when you entered those words?
I'm saying with my brain, it took me like 3 different clicks before you're like, oh, I can't say weed. Anyway, that's not a horticultural term.
I used to think, I actually asked my pastor in my 20s if the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil was a marijuana plant.
It's definitely.
I've never seen that give anybody any knowledge, Rich. I gotta be honest.
It does give them a lot of, actually, the pot smokers that I've known, a lot of them around here in Northern California, because it's been legally or illegally legal for, decades. But it's like, they're dopes. The dopers, it really is, because it's like they got all these good ideas and like they're going to help me do something, put in a garden, whatever it is. And then it's like, okay, I'm about ready to, lift all this stuff and do like, where'd he go? And he's oversleeping. Yeah, the one guy was oversleeping. And I was like, worthless? They're the most worthless people because, they're great. But it's a drug. You're drugging yourself. You're tranquilizing yourself. You think you have all these great ideas, and a lot of them are fine because it doesn't, warp anything. You're not thinking you're going to do something psychedelic. It's just, I don't know, man. It's like, oh, I have trouble enough thinking. I can't, I stay away from that stuff for that reason.
I think for medicinal reasons, it should be legal throughout the entire country and the world. I mean, the stuff's been proven to cure various forms of cancer, helps people with AIDS, for example, have an appetite so they can eat. It's been proven to help with epileptic seizures. There's all kinds of stuff that it is good for. It was almost a cure-all, and you could grow it just about anywhere. But it has psychoactive effects. Well, if you grow them that way, it's made illegal.
And it's the abuse of it, because again, it's not to be used by people with their brains still, their body's still growing, and the human brain doesn't stop until you're like 24. So you look at, and especially California, my friends who started using it heavy back in the 70s and 80s, they were still the same brain. 90s, 2000, they still, it from my experience, it stunts them. And then again, when they're older and use it, they're just dopes.
Well, I think it's the reason for my terrible short-term memory. I was a pothead for many years. It destroyed my life. I mean, but live and learn, I guess, but thank God for Christ. They say this stuff isn't addictive, but it was to me.
Not my experience, and the people that try to get off of it that are
Dan,
heavy.
you know what the real question is, don't you?
What is that?
What did marijuana evolve from, Dan? That's what people want to know.
Yeah.
Well, I would say herb, because I've told this story before, but I'm past embarrassed on anything I've done or thought. Guy came into my nursery in '91, and he goes, bought some bonsais from me to resell, and I made him a bunch more. And he comes in and goes, "Hey, do you want to grow some herb plants?" My buddy has 3rd generation herb plants, and I would like to say I was like 12 at the time, but I was in my 30s or 20s, late 20s. I go, "Sure, I love all kinds of plants." It took me at least 2 months to figure out he wasn't talking about rosemary and thyme, and it's just like.
Dan was knee deep with Pablo Escobar and didn't even know what he was in business.
I know it's like, and it's like, dude, I don't do things. Back then I might have sped. I did speed back then, and like, okay, whatever. But you're talking about something if you get caught, they took you away.
You heard it here first, folks. It is a gateway. Started out with simple weed, and then he was doing speed all of a sudden.
And rosemary, and remember the rosemary.
Is that what the kids are calling it now, Dan?
No, but it's like definitions. That's why I was, whether I'm talking to you, anybody, it's like, okay, how do you define that word? Because it's like,
Here's another question for evolutionists. So we have certain neurons in our brain that only react to THC. How did that evolve?
I would believe that so many things that is in line with our physical whatever medically that was probably and so just like this in the marijuana, and they were like, they did it in the 70s, no big deal. Well, marijuana, they even smoked the leaves before. And now at one time I was like driving along the road and see all this stuff thrown out, and I parked. It wasn't for that, but I parked, and it's like it was a bunch of marijuana leaves. And I was like, oh my gosh, if I was into marijuana, I would be making a ton of money. And then I told somebody about it. I was like, Dan, that's the leaves. They only smoke the buds now. It's like, oh. But the intensity bred into it now is, I don't know what percentage, but it is multiple times stronger than it was back then. That's why you're, again, what was it created like? Where did it come from? Things do change. We do believe in the micro evolution, that things do change. All three of us here look different because of genetics, because of things change over time.
I look different mostly because of age, Dan.
Well, and you're a stud, looking young guy. So I hate.
I'm losing one vestigial organ that is my hair. I don't know if you ever went through that.
Have a baby face his whole life. Don't worry about it.
I still look okay. I do want, because that's why, Richard, you should go to Philippines. We don't care about Pike because he's too handsome already. But people in the Philippines would just like go crazy over you. Like, you look like Tom Cruise, and they're thinking of the old, the young Tom Cruise. And it's,
I look like Tom Cruise. I really feel sorry for the guy.
No, they would say because all white people look alike. So they would even say that, Pike looked like Tom Cruise. It was quite funny. And it was kind of really funny because they were like, that looks like Tom Cruise to me. And you guys see me now, and 10 years ago, I didn't look that different.
Hey, look, I take it.
No, it was funny.
It makes sense. I mean, all Chinese people look like Jackie Chan.
Well, and it is a scientific thing that, the people that you're around, you can see the small differences. Asians think we all look alike if they're not around round eyes. And whatever, that's just, it's nothing. Yes, you're a round eye. And sometimes it's not a nice thing to say to you. An Asian person calls you a round eye. It might be good, it might be bad. They have no problem. They don't have the political correctness here. One of the worst things you could be is dark skinned, and that's totally Asian, but just dark skinned. We can't even say that word in our culture. And that's a normal usage there. If you're dark skinned, that's what you are. Because we'll get off of that because I don't want to be banned. Anyhow, Christian Pike.
That's hilarious, man.
It's the young Tom Cruise. That you would say that. And actually, it was really funny because my wife's best friend's husband was captain in the Philippine intelligence military force, and we went to this base, and the commander went away, and he was the highest ranking guy. And so they gave us a tour, and he kept on asking me, it's like, you look like Tom Cruise. Have you ever been in the whatever Tom Cruise was, in CIA or FBI or military, Coast Guard? And it turned out that America didn't make him happy at that time, and still quite doesn't. But if he could have been court-martialed if he let on a former military person onto the base, anything to do with the U.S. government. So it was kind of funny because he kept on grilling me. It's like, nope.
And that was really funny because he took us to this to the officers' shooting range, and they had these cool World War II 45 cals, and so I see my pictures like, oh my gosh, you could tell. I mean, they probably thought I was some kind of sharpshooter because I saw the picture of my stance, and it was not somebody on a pistol range. And it was really funny because my pattern, it was the first time I shot the gun, and I looked retarded. And when I shot, the pattern was pretty good. It was in the corner, but it was and so the guy, the friend, he had other officers were there shooting, practicing, and you could tell him in Philippines, he was like just totally ripping them apart, that dude that doesn't even know how to stand straight is shooting better than you. They were getting so flustered. It was so funny. But, oh, that was pathetic. That hurt for me to see the picture of me shooting that gun. Because I know what it's supposed to look like, that nice stance for shooting a pistol. And that wasn't me. Oh, my gosh. But anyway, fun times. And I hope I don't offend Pike for talking about guns. He's one of those anti-gun guys.
I'm not anti-gun. I just don't care for them myself.
I know, I'm teasing.
I remember when I moved down to Alabama, when I went in there and actually got my driver's license, they handed me a firearm before I left the courthouse.
It's weird. A lot of my family's big on guns. I just never, even when I was in the world before I got converted, I never had any interest in them.
No, I went hunting, because of hunting family and all that good stuff. And I turned 16. I was driving, went out to my cousin's. They had a couple 100-acre ranch, and they had this apple orchard that sucked, but the deer liked it. And I was sitting there, and this spike comes walking up and within range. And I just, not a scope, I just put the sights on him. And it's like, you know what? I just don't feel like it. And it didn't matter it was a spike because it's like, no, he's going to see the horns of that thing anyway, out on that property. And so, but it was like, I just didn't, I wouldn't have cared if it was a 6-pointer. I wouldn't have shot it. I was like, I'm not that hungry. And now I would if I was, something happened and we needed food. You watch your dogs and cats. I don't care what it is. I'll shoot it and eat it.
Man, you've been around the Filipinos too long. You're talking about eating cats and dogs.
No, I said that to my wife. I said, I don't know. It's like, so do you guys eat dogs? No, that's the people. And she named some province. It'd be like saying, oh, that's the people from.
You never had sweet and sour Lucky before?
Didn't. And then the rats. And so I said rats. She goes, no, that's the people. And she named another little. It'd be like, no, that's in Georgia. Those are the people that eat those. And it's it was funny. It'd be like here saying possum. It's like, no, I don't eat possum. It's like those people down in Alabama or Mississippi or something. Quite funny. I don't even know if they eat it. That's just always possum pie. Whether that's an urban legend or not, but it was just funny that if something.
I've never met anybody who ate a possum, and I've met a lot of country people.
I know. You must, and it's like, come on, who would in the right mind eat a snail? You're really gonna go?
I have met people who ate snakes, actually.
Snakes. I like snake, but I think that's the best way to look at a rattlesnake is in garlic butter. We were up at this camp, and we have little ones here, man. It wasn't, but this he was like preschooler, and he's like, Daddy, snake, rattlesnake. And they were like, yeah, sure, go up there. It was a nice sized rattlesnake. And they cut the head off and threw it in the dumpster. And it's like, dude, you don't want to, So I got in there, I smashed up the head, and it's like, well, while I'm here, took out the thing and I cooked it up. The kids, because it was a church camp thing, and kids and parents were there. And the kids went for seconds. The parents, not so much. It was kind of fun, but yeah, I could survive on snake. Not much meat. It would be hard to survive on them, but to me, the only place I want to see an alligator, rattlesnake, pretty much anything poisonous is in a zoo or a picture. I'm just not into. And people go, oh, well, rattlesnakes eat a bunch of rodents. So do king snakes, and the king snake actually eats the rattlesnake. So let's breed more king snakes. And they ain't going to put you down if you accidentally get bit by them.
Anyway, I'm not a good caretaker of God's creation, but I don't think those snakes were the original creation. So there. What do you think, Pike?
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious that everything has changed. I don't think that we have a very good picture of what the original creation would have looked like. It seems like it's drifted so far from its original form that what we have now is a very, very cheap imitation.
You look at and just everything. The what law is that, Richard? Where everything breaks down. Richard.
Second law of thermodynamics.
Oh, entropy, yeah.
I was right. And so, but you look at that, and all we have to do, uniformitarianism is wrong because all around the world in the same levels is tropical stuff. The Earth was different. Whether Doc Hovind talking about an ice canopy or something though was different. The atmosphere, they said it had more oxygen in it. I'm not gonna. I don't really care why. I wasn't there. I don't have to fight those conditions or be happy with them. But something was different, and I just stay away from that kind of trying to figure out what it was. That's where I should be. Man, we got to church today, and we have this covered porchy, whatever they call it. They have a fancy name for it. And we always sit out there. There's a big screen, and it doesn't hurt my back. I can stand up if I want or whatever. And they didn't put any chairs out because we want people to come inside the building. And that was so weird. We totally get him. I woke him up for something.
No, I was trying to get out of dark for Joseph.
Oh. Yeah, but so I was hauling in chairs, and I was like, man, I'm too old for this. And the worst was we have about a few 100-foot building down below on a slant, and so I hooked up a bunch of those on a cart dolly. But it's like, wow, we had 150 people just out on this porch thing, and so that was awesome.
So you were talking about Dr. Hovind's canopy theory. I got another theory which I guess could have the same effect without the canopy above the atmosphere, compressing everything in. So Walt Brown has his theory, his hydroplate theory, that when the fountains of the deep broke open, chunks of rock would get caught in the stream coming out with so much force that it would shoot it at escape velocity. And it also explains why some of the asteroids that we recently found have water, ice, and minerals found on Earth and amino acids and whatnot on them. But basically, during that moment, the crust of the Earth would basically lose mass. And we know that gravity is based on the overall mass of the planetary body. So that means before the fountains of the deep broke open, there was more mass, which means a stronger gravitational pull, which would compress the atmosphere even greater. And it would be a thicker atmosphere. I don't know about the magnetic field there, but a thicker atmosphere, and that thicker atmosphere would reduce UV light. And I don't know where we get the 50% extra oxygen, probably because there's more foliage, but it would explain
that would do it.
Your atmosphere, though.
That's
what way. I wish I knew the math to do it. I wish I could find somebody who knew the math behind some orbital mechanics, but there is a way to follow planetary bodies' orbit backwards to find out where it originates from. And if you can look at some of these asteroids and calculate it in a simulator backwards, I bet we could find an origin point from the planet Earth. I don't remember the one that they ran into and took samples from a few years ago where they found the water ice and the amino acids, but I would love to track that one backwards and see that it actually prove Walt Brown's theory.
Well, I think, Pike should be able, he's just being humble, but he can figure out how much rock goes in a batch of concrete, how many tons and 10 yards of concrete. So he should be able to know
do that in his head.
Yeah. You got a pencil and paper, do you there, Christian?
Man, I'm about to fall asleep.
Sure, excuse me. But still, I think it's still possible to prove that theory. Maybe I got to go down to Southern California, come out there, visit you, Dan, and then well, you're in Northern California, aren't you?
Yeah, and Southern California is not even California.
Well, I mean, I got to go to the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, I guess, to talk to some of those guys out there. But
that's past. I wonder if it's still open in Northern California. There was one. I think we talked about that Livermore Lab.
So, what part of Northern California are you in?
About an hour north of San Francisco.
Like
I'm gonna start like I'm gonna make my money, man. I'm gonna do a travel agency. We can I can show you the sights of San Francisco, all the homeless, all the needles, the drugs, the poop on the streets.
I bet you, man. Yeah.
And I could actually probably get you arrested because we get some shopping carts and tents and walk past Nancy Pelosi's house, which is a no-fly zone. Even for the poor homeless, that they can go anywhere. Even during the riots, that's why we had short-term riots here in San Francisco, because after 2 days, you're getting into the rich folks' place because it's such a small area. So they let any of those protests, the riots, they let them go down in the poor areas and the business districts, but they start going up those hills, and man, they bring in the cops big time and shut down. So you see, like a big city like LA. They can go for days in the poor areas, in the middle class areas before they get to the rich areas. And what was that in Oregon? What was that, Oregon or Washington, when the mayor, she had her little sign in the window, and they finally shut it down when it got to her neighborhood. And I was like, but I had the sign in the window. Why would they have vandalized my house? Like, you guys trying to think that had anything to do with people wanting to break things and destroy them. That's a darkened heart.
I know a lot of people don't like the guy, but when Elon Musk was a part of Doge, they started uncovering tons of corruption. And according to the things they uncovered, I guess California's a $1 billion with a B dollar a year budget to manage the homeless. And so the people in charge are incentivized, by the homeless population. So if they actually use the money to take care of the homeless people like they're supposed to be doing, they're losing the billions of dollars that they're getting. So they're putting the money in their pocket instead and making the homeless population worse intentionally so they can get more money off of it.
Well, they calculate $150,000 per person per year, and we have more homeless people now than then. So I think that Californians, maybe too much weed. The politicians, the Democrats here, it's a probably thing that's like, well, we're getting all this money for the homeless. Let's make more homeless, and we'll make money at the same time, because those billions of dollars is going somewhere, but it's generating more homeless. Therefore, then also the
working honest Americans don't even make $150,000 a year, but we got to pay taxes to fund their corruption and pay for those people.
Well, and the thing is, it doesn't go to the homeless people. They'll buy some needles for them. They'll buy the drugs, but in certain cities, but that just keeps them on the street. Well, and it's the dirty little secret all over the country, and that's the problem. And I wish, because I could be I'm so smart. If I was in government, it's like, okay, Elon Musk and Trump with their Doge, they found these, waste. Let's go after those wastes. The illegals that are murderers. The Democrats never turn those over. These sanctuary cities never turn over an illegal creep.
Well, I know they need them to vote for them, to make sure that they stay in office.
But to me, that is why they are.
It's not why it's not illegal, or I'm not trying to say why. You need to have ID. You need to have proof you're an American citizen in order to vote. That's the way it should be. I guess California passed a law where it is actually illegal, where you're no longer required to show any form of identification to vote. So that means you can vote for who you want, go out the door, get back in line, and vote again. And you can just keep doing that over and over and over again. It's evil, and those people should be arrested who are putting that stuff into place. But those are the people who are running various states in this country.
Totally.
I don't know if we should go down the political rabbit hole.
It's corruption because, and I'm an equal opportunity because that I'm not saying her name because I might get it wrong, but it was the blonde in charge of whatever in the administration, and this is what you do not see in other ones. She got fired because she was misusing funds. Let me say, and I might be wrong, but was it Pam Bondi that got released or that got fired? Was she the blonde attorney general or whatever she was? Whoever the person was that was supposed to be going after criminals was giving contracts to, or whatever she was doing. She was mishandling funds, and she got dumped, which she should have been. Now, in my perspective, she should have had to pay it back, and there should be a lot. She should be out cleaning streets along with all the rest of the people who stolen, because it's mass theft. And they just stole a toothpick, or they stole a pencil. And some people's like, you're stealing from what, 300 and something million people? That's mass theft. So it should be a different penalty, but of course they're the ones that write the laws. So of course they're not going to punish themselves. We had some of the criminals in Minnesota that they guilty, stealing millions of dollars, and one got 6 months or something in prison. It's like, whoa, how many people, if you got $10 million, would go to jail for 6 months? Not me. That's not my thing, but that's a pretty...
You're not in the political system, so your sentences are longer.
It's and it's just a shame, but people, and again, if they were smart, they would give up some illegal rapist. The sanctuary cities would give up some murdering thugs. But no, they don't even do that. They go, oh, you're going after all these poor innocent people, but you're hiding them all. So why don't you, if they were smart, they would give them up, the bad ones, because they think, and I think, but that's Satan. Sorry, go back to it. Satan doesn't want those people out of our communities. He wants the murderers, the rapists, the child abusers in our cities, in our sites. He wants the waste. He wants you to have to work, pay taxes, and have that money wasted to some cartel or some evil dictator in some other land. It's just like, I just smile at it because, like, whoa, novel predictions in the Bible. Because that'd be easy. Who would not be against all this stuff? People are, though. And it just is evidence that there is a moral code that's above humanity. It's craziness. I'm going to have to get out of there. My wife's got the
You want to pray real quick before you go, brother?
Yes, please.
Lord, thank you for this ministry. Thank you for these people. Thank you for the people you sent to our ministry today, Lord. And pray that you keep us an open heart and an open mind, Lord. Hold us in your hand. God bless them. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. And darn, come back, please. This is Atheist G/G2R. I'm honestly convinced Christianity is what I believe is what is wrong with this world. And see, I don't ridicule people because I can actually see what they're meaning, what the communication is. The more I look at history, the more wars were caused by religion. Okay. Now, how about though?
The 1900s.
Get him, Dan.
Well, yeah, because
He's not showing his innocence of what Hitler did because of the theory of evolution. The whole reason the Holocaust was because he thought he was they were less evolved people, and he was, the highest guy on the food chain, for lack of a better term.
now, but Richard, Hitler was Christian. Hitler was Christian, wasn't he?
I've heard that. I don't know.
I know. I do know. If you're out murdering people, if you're out not loving your neighbor, you're not a Christian. So atheists, so that's the problem with, and I would actually probably agree, a lot of history is theists, people who say they believe in some God, some spaghetti monster made up in the sky. But Christianity is the followers of Jesus Christ. So I could call myself a communist, but you're going, Dan, you're always out there making money for yourself. You're not part of no, I'm not a communist. I mean, you can tell because I'm capitalist at heart. I'm a landscaper that goes out and makes money for myself. And so I could call myself communist all day long. And it's like, see, Dan's a communist. No, I'm not a communist, though. And all you'd have to do is look. And so with the broad term, and that's why I love definitions. So how many people in China, in the political realm of the Communist Party, how many of those are theists? Aren't they? Are there any? No. China, and they killed how many? USSR. That, forget Hitler then, because he wasn't that good at killing people. He only killed maybe 20 million, 10, 20 million, where, Soviet Union, man, those atheists knew how to do it. They carved out the farmers because they figured they wanted their own land. And of course you can't have your own property. It's got to be all the states because it's a collective. How about Cambodia? Good old Pol Pot. My grandson's father was a baby who had to get carried out of there because his dad was killed. So they do not believe in a God. So let's say communists step up for their community when they need. They make some money to support their So
I think you believe this country there, bro, and go hang out in Ukraine or Russia for a little while. Come back in about 6 months.
Well, even those have kind of turned to oligarch capitalism, where I would tell them to go to North Korea. That's fully communist. There's no God belief. China, there's no God belief. Cambodia is kind of mixing because they figured it. I don't know exactly right now, but in the 1900s, communism killed more people. And they always say, I was like, oh, well, China doesn't declare war on people. You ask that to the people in India. No, they don't declare. They go, that's our property and we're going to kill you. And there's still tension with India and China. China is around the world doing harm in the name of atheism. So, host.
That's me.
Oh. So, and that's a great discussion. I'm not going anywhere. No, and that's the thing that was a joke, but
I have a feeling he's sitting in your California liberal state right there, and he's just trying to throw hate right back at us since we were talking about his politics. I don't know. Most atheists I've met are very liberal. They don't see anything wrong with the stuff they're doing. So.
Well, no, and that's the thing, and that's where the lie, and we would say the evidence is a demonic force, and atheist GR2R. So humanists will say, well, it's for the good of humanity. We got to do this. Christianity's evil. Well, what Christianity are you talking about? More money has gone from Christian people, rightly Christian and not rightly Christian, on good. For me, I want to give because God gave to me.
So more people, and they say even giving, people who have a belief in a God, whether it's true Christianity or theism, will give more money to other folks. So, and that's statistics. And so that's one off. I mean, you, G2R, might be given 90% of your income to the starving people. And, but otherwise, I love to ask the answer. And that's why, you know, come on back to another show, because I do have questions, and this is no judgment, because, you know, I'm, as everybody knows, I have a hard enough time just dealing with myself. But people go, oh, God allows whatever. And he does allow it. I mean, he's all knowing, all powerful. So as defined, any baby that dies around the world, he had to allow it for some purpose. We just don't know why, the design of it. But what are you doing? I have all these atheists and God haters that they're blaming God. They sit down, they're fat, they're driving their BMW, or now it's a Prius, or was then a Prius or Beamer, and then it did go to the Elon Musk's cars before he went evil, because he wanted to cut out waste in government. But it's like, what are you doing though? You know, and I always hear people like, well, if there is a God, I'm a good person and I'm not Hitler, so he should let me into heaven anyway. It's like, really? So how many of these homeless people have you let into your house? How many illegals that have come up who are they trying to escape something bad in their own evil countries, third world crap countries, who a lot of them have more money than we do, but are oligarchs keeping all the money. How many of those do you keep in your house? How many is your door open? So it's just a hypocrisy, and that's what we do here at ProverbsGuys Ministry, is give our beliefs that there is a loving Creator who has allowed this country, this world, to go downhill because of the sin of the first perfectly created human beings. And that, anyway, I'm just out of there. My wife's going to kill me, and then I don't want her in jail.
Not if we shoot you first.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you so much, though, for your questions, G2R. And please come back, because I've got a lot more, and I'm sure you have a lot more. And that's what we're about here. Some of our best friends here are from the atheist community. Some want to throw stones. That's fine, too. But we have some that will actually just help us steel man the position, tell evolutionists what they really believe instead of what we think they believe. And so, yeah, welcome on back. We had that prayer. God bless everybody. Today was the day that we celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ, God from heaven. And I have the testimony. Rich has the testimony, is that novelly predicted in the scripture, if you acknowledge your imperfection, ask God for help, he will forgive you. You will have the Holy Spirit. God himself will dwell in your mortal body and give you fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. Again, you guys know I'm working on the self-control thing. But God bless you, Rich. Thanks for saving the show when my internet crashed. And I'll be out of here. We'll be out of here. Let's see if we can find another one of those music things. Oh, do you know what? We had this song. I don't know if this is it. Is this it?
I don't know.
You hear it?
Yep. Good night, Dan.
God bless you. God bless you all. Till next time.